After getting off to a shaky couple of games, Luka Doncic is starting to look like his usual self, currently leading the Lakers on a 7-game winning streak and climbing up to the second best team in the West. In this video, we're going to look at where exactly Luka's been finding success and how the Lakers will most likely use him going forward. Now, statistically, Luka's been doing by far his best work attacking the basket. Despite going through a bit of a cold shooting stretch, Luka's been really efficient around the rim, and his blend of strength, skill, and touch makes him pretty much impossible to guard when coming downhill. As soon as Luka gets the defense on his hip, there's absolutely no chance of pushing him off his driving line. When chiseling his way into the paint, Luka has ridiculous body control, where he can both absorb contact while mixing up the pace of his strides. We'll see him here catch on this backdoor cut, and watch him take one dribble and hit the pause button on his right foot, to then wait for the defense to fly by, creating this wide open finish. And Doncic can also mix that deceleration into his Euro steps. Watch him here drop down and get PJ Washington on his hip. And as Kyrie Irving slides across and help, Luka's going to pick up for a right-left Euro. But again, notice how he's going to decelerate off that second step, which both lifts these defenders in the air, setting up another clean finishing window. And then along with all these different strides, Luka's also very comfortable playing off 2 feet. And this is where he has a duffel bag of different shot fakes and counters. But again, what ties everything together is Luka's control and balance with the ball. I like this move and shot here, where Doncic first attacks hard to his left, then slides the ball back through to his right. Then he's going to explode towards the rim and slam the brakes on this pickup, creating enough breathing room for the short 10-foot jumper. He's going to hit the same move here by attacking hard and picking up, but now he's going to lift the defense up with the shot fake and draw the and one. With a strong dribble, and it's also important to note that Luka's also just a really good tough shot maker. Whether he's dealing with contact or is heavily off balance, he pretty much always finds a way to put the ball up softly at the rim. And when you combine Luka's tough shot making, along with all that pace and footwork around the basket, he's pretty much impossible to deal with once he turns the corner. Now the next thing we have to dive into is Luka's footwork and ball handling. Like we've seen, his biggest superpower is to drive through contact and work his way to spots while protecting the ball. But I also think Luka uses his feet really well to set up angles. While Doncic may not be the most explosive athlete, I do think he has really good rhythm and balance with his lower body. And that's on full display with his step back game, where Luka can commit his body into moves to then separate back for on-balance jumpers. And that control also carries over to his driving game. We'll see him here push the ball across to his right hand. And notice how that left foot is going to follow. Then he's going to plant and replant that foot to push himself downhill. And Doncic is also very good at mixing his step back and attacking game together. Obviously, everybody knows his go-to move is the step back drifting to his left, where he typically likes to push the defense back by dropping his stance and threatening the drive, to then push off that right foot to separate. But Luka can also create space with the ball in his right hand. Watch him first skip up, to then drop back down and sell the drive. But again, from here, he's going to create space by planting off that right foot. Here's another one over Zubac. So because Luka can effectively separate into jumpers going both right and left, he can leverage that threat to create more downhill drives. As soon as he turns the corner off these screens, all he has to do is slightly lift up his level, which is enough by itself to pull the defense out of their stance. Watch him first open up his stance, then shift his way to his back foot, as if he's looking to separate back behind the line, which pulls Naz Reid out of his stance, creating another clean driving angle. We can see the same thing here, where Chris Dunn is on his hip, and Luka's gonna again sink all his weight into that back foot, which completely folds Dunn forward. So off the dribble, Luka has this push and pull effect on the defense. If you overplay his drive, he can leverage that into his step back. But if you overplay that outside threat, he's then going to turn that into downhill drives. So with the ball, Doncic has the game to generate shots at will. I think the biggest thing from going forward is to get those percentages from 3 back up. And once those outside looks start falling, that's when he becomes literally impossible to guard. So in pick and roll, because Luka can pop threes, turn the corner and get buckets in the paint, as well as abuse switches in open space, the best option by the defense is to generally put 2 on the ball and force him to get rid of it. But Luka's also one of, if not the best playmaker in the league. If the defense tries to blitz him in pick and roll, he can both use his height to lob passes over the top, as well as needle these tight pocket passes. But probably the most important element to Luka's facilitating is going to be his court mapping. Doncic is elite at reading the entire floor and where the defense is shifting. He's initially looking to make another pocket pass to the roller, but he then reads Anthony Edwards shifting up towards the middle. So Luka in response is going to whip this laser over to the opposite corner. But then on top of these cross-court reads, Doncic also has elite anticipation. Before he goes through a ball screen, he already knows the rotations the defense is going to make, which allows him to spring passes and put them in scrambles. Notice on this play how Luka reads Harden and Dunn shifting across the paint to help on this ball screen. So instead of using this pick, he's going to flip the ball across to James, giving Gabe Vincent all this airspace in the corner. This pass here is pretty wild, where Luka's working off this ball screen to his right, and he makes another cross-court skip pass. But look how he leads LeBron perfectly into this drive, where he can pick up ahead his team to run through this catch. Now on top of all these different cross-court passing reads, Luka can also use his eyes to freeze and manipulate the defense. Watch him jump and sell that he's making a pass back over to the weak side, setting up this uncontested dunk at the rim. Now Luka's also a legit passing threat when turning the corner and playing downhill, and this is where everything comes back to his control and pace with the ball. Because Luka's always playing at his own speed, that naturally feeds into his passing, where his slow and methodical style of play gives him more time to read the floor. We'll see him here get back to using those acceleration steps, but instead of forcing up a contested finish, he instead whips the ball out to create another clean look. And again, because Luka stands at 6'7", he also has the size to see over the defense and make cross-court passing reads. Notice how the entire defense shifts across as he drives to his left. And with 2 defenders on him, Luka can easily make the skip pass over to Hachimura. So with the ball, Luka is a non-stop scoring and passing threat. His blend of size, skill, and shot making makes him literally impossible to guard one-on-one. But then if you try to send extra help, he also has the passing chops to read and pick apart every type of rotation. I think with the ball in his hands, Luka is easily the best individual shot creator in the league. And I think that's easily enough to keep the Lakers offense well above par. And over the past 5 games, they've had a top 5 offense in the NBA. And it's also important to note that LA's also had a ton of success in transition, where Luka and LeBron have already connected on a bunch of these touchdown passes. Now with the ball, I wouldn't say Luka has the best speed in the open court, but he's very good at advancing the ball, which normally leads to high quality offense.
From his favorite spot, LeBron.
Watch him here just take one dribble off this rebound, to then kick the ball up ahead to James, and just like that, the Lakers get a dunk at the rim. And whenever Luka has the ball, he's always going to pull heavy defensive attention. So if he just pushes it and puts some pressure on the defense, that's enough by itself to create easy breakdowns. Now obviously, because Luka's sharing the court with LeBron and Austin Reeves, he's going to spend some half-court possessions off the ball. And this is where Luka's well known for being a zero factor. And that's pretty much remained the case in LA, where he just looks completely disengaged if he isn't in the action, by either turning his head and taking the play off, or just floating up towards half court, and not at least being a spot-up threat. And because Luka's not a real catch-and-shoot threat from 40 feet out, his man now has a license to provide heavy help and gap. Now, I'm not saying that Luka should turn into Steph Curry off the ball, but he should be at least parked somewhere closer to the line and at least be a kick-out option. And because he's playing alongside other elite playmakers, I think he's going to have countless of opportunities to get easy points. Take this play for example. LeBron's going to drive across the baseline, with Luka spotting up on the opposite wing. And as James penetrates the paint, Luka should be sprinting over towards the corner to give James a passing angle.
Spin baseline. He is trying to force it.
The Lakers in spots have also tried to run Doncic off some different off-ball screening actions, but it's just clearly not his game. We'll see him get this cross screen from Gabe Vincent, but he doesn't even look to initiate contact to set up the pick. or seriously come off the score. On this play, I think Dorian Finney-Smith is looking to set a flare screen, but with Luka again spread out behind the logo, this screen is pretty much a non-factor. Now to be fair, Luka in spots has hit some good backdoor cuts. If the defense hones in too much on the ball, Luka at times will sneak past them for buckets, but plays like this have been few and far between. So again, I don't think Luka's off-ball game is going to make or break the Lakers offense. I think the amount of scoring and creation he does on the ball more than makes up for his lack of activity. But I still think Luka should at least commit to spotting up and providing some floor spacing, as well as relocating to open spots if the defense gets broken down. So overall, I still think there are some unanswered questions surrounding this Lakers team. But as the weeks go by, they keep passing every test in front of them. But I'm still interested to see how they stack up against the top tier teams in the league. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. And let me know in the comments who the kids should break down next. The kids here.